Hey, what's up everybody? DDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, boy is it hot out here right now. It's about 91, it's gonna get up to about 97. So I'm going to get to Hollywood, grab some things that I need to grab, budgeting out what's left of my my EBT. Good news is I was able to contact everybody necessary to take care of that situation. So they have 3 to 5 business days to review my case. And basically, I don't believe there's anything in the way of me getting my benefits re-established. As I told you guys last time, they cut them off because they said that I didn't submit something that they actually had. So that's kind of what it came down to. They wanted me to write a statement saying that my circumstances were as they were. My uncle was paying for the hotel, which is something that they already have on record. Something that I was able to verify in 2 different ways. But they wanted me to write out a statement and date it and put my name on it stating what is already established. So it was just them creating an extra step to keep from giving somebody their benefits. That's all it is. They try to make it as hard as possible. They know nothing's changed in my life. They know that all the documents that they have had are still the same that would otherwise be required to qualify me. So, you know, just dealing with the bull crap. But I dealt with it yesterday. I stayed home and made it happen. So I had ate up a good portion of my morning and ate into the afternoon, basically, because you know every time you have to call those people, you're gonna be on the phone for about 2 hours. So that's what it was. And glad that's out the way. So hopefully they will be reinstating my EBT within the next week and a half. I think it's probably what it would take for them to get around to it. But so that's good news. And of course it's the 3rd, so I got a budget. I got a budget pretty good, but I got some things to buy too, and unfortunately I can't get them locally. I would love to, because I really don't feel like doing the whole Hollywood trip in this heat. I would much rather stay in the house, but that's not an option because it's only going to get hotter. That's the reality of it. I can't. This heat here, it's going to be 97 today. It's going to be 99 tomorrow. It's going to be 96 on Monday, and it's going to go down to 92 on Tuesday, and then back into the 80s on Wednesday, hopefully. But we got a heat wave in the valley right now, so the food that I have, it ain't gonna last me that long. So I gotta hit a Trader Joe's up, and then I gotta hit a Target up. So the best way to do that in this hot sun is to get out of the valley and do it in Hollywood. So that's really what it is, man. I actually feel like going to Santa Monica, to be honest with you. Getting to some real cool areas, but I don't know where Trader Joe's is downtown. I don't know where Trader Joe's is in Santa Monica. So if I'm gonna get my rice, I have to go there. So that's it. That's really what it is, man. Just trying to take care of the business at hand. We're doing so. Ain't really too much other than that. Just trying to make sure that I do my due diligence to try to get myself to exercise. Prefer not to do it in this heat. But it ain't going nowhere, so it got to be done. But you know, everything else is everything, man. I only have 38 minutes to talk, so I don't want to waste all of it on this video, to be honest with you. But that's really the upgrade for my situation. Found some pretty good music. I ain't did the playlist yet, but I did arrange it. I did narrow it down to playlist length. I just got to arrange the music, but I think the next one's gonna be pretty good. I think it is. It's a lot of good R&B music that just dropped, so I would have done that today if I didn't have to buy food, but it is what it is, man. I told myself I could probably have the food delivered to me, but I don't want nobody picking my fruit, man. I really don't. Not in this era in my life where I have so many digestive issues. I really need to be the one picking my food up, to be honest. So that's what it is, man. Did a lot of reminiscing last night. Because I had slept a little bit in the daytime, I was up all night, so that was something that really allowed me to do some thinking. And I thought about just about everything that has happened since my mother passed back in 16. And it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey, and I've matured a lot. Had to learn how to trust God. Had to endure some difficulties, both internal and some stuff that were, you know, kind of just coming at me or whatever. But I'm still standing. Just like I was talking to my friend about this morning, I'm still standing. It's amazing when I look back on it and think of all the different steps to this journey that led me to exactly where I'm at right now. And so how many ebbs and flows and ups and downs it's been really, really hard, man. My 30s have been hard for me. Not as hard as maybe what you've gone through or what someone else has gone through, but for my walk of life, my 30s were not fun, not easy. not a whole lot of fun there, man. A lot of me doing stuff that either I shouldn't have been doing that led to consequences I didn't want, or me doing things I didn't want to do, trying to help myself, and it coming to naught in a lot of cases. Investing in certain things, sacrificing it in things that didn't work out. A lot of that. Messing around with money when didn't value it like I should have, which would have helped me if I would have. Standing for what I'm trying to stand for in that stock market situation, and of course corruption cheating me out of my opportunities, as well as my own choices and not working, trying to manage my mental health. So, you know, waiting on SSI even now in the later stages of this era. It's been a bunch of nothing, to be honest with you. A whole lot of waiting for stuff that didn't happen. So I don't know, man. As I'm exiting my 30s, I'm just thinking about that, and you know, and kind of surprised I'm not more deterred than I otherwise would be. More deficient in having motivation than I actually am, and have turned things around in that way while suffering these losses and taking on these losses. That's what they are. So, you know, that's what I'm most proud of, is the fact that I'm still moving around, overcame my anxiety about staying in the house, overcame what otherwise came my way in certain job situations I didn't want to be at, left them, went on to other things, stuff like that, man. Just the journey of a 10-year span or 11-year span, almost 10 years, I say. So it's really what it is. Ever since my mom died, you know, if she were to meet me now, she would have an entirely different person to look at, man. When she passed, I was 31 years old. I was dabbling around and smoking. Hadn't even started the process of becoming the pothead that I was becoming. You know, some of the isolation periods, she did see a lot of that as I was growing up, but how that affected me as I went along. She would have been interested to know how I came out of some of that, and the type of person I turned out to be, and prayerful and leaning on the Lord, and, you know, trying to win battles and stuff like that. Things that during the time of her life I didn't even know to want for myself, or things that I'm now engaging in, trying to make myself better. You know, the Bible study, for example, that was something she wanted me to get involved in. I had no interest in it whatsoever until well after she passed away. Now I'm very consistent in making sure I'm available at 4:30 on Sundays, and have been for a year now, so a little more than a year probably. So, you know, it's that type of thing that just I think about, like going back to when my mother passed, and then every single job that I had, every single stint of isolation, circumstances where I could have took a left and went right, or vice versa. This is a lot of stuff, man. It's been a whole damn lot. And so at this point, just looking around, I'm saying, okay, what's next? Dude, that's funny, man. Anyway, you just wonder what's next in your life. When does this end? When do things get better? What does worse look like? And how am I going to handle it? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. What can I do right now to kind of anticipate making the right decision, instead of just kind of stumbling into decisions like often I did during that 10-year span? Doing things I probably shouldn't have did, not listening to that inner voice inside of me telling me to go a certain way, ignoring that voice. I haven't been doing that in this era of my life very much, to be honest with you. You know, some of the things that I did back in the day were against my better judgment. That voice inside of me was saying, hey, you should probably sacrifice that, or nah, this probably ain't good for you. And at the time, I go against that voice. I know what I want. I know what's best for me. Some of those things led to where I'm at right now. Not doing that, I'm curious to see where it's going to lead, because I've been extremely obedient to that voice as of late, and it's led me in the right direction, trusting that voice. Just learn to trust God. You know, there's a difference between loving God and trusting God, and that's what I was meditating on in these last 10 years. That's what I learned to do. Loving him wasn't the problem. Always love God, always believe God. But to trust in him, trust that he's got your best interest at heart. Trust that your sins haven't deterred him from your favor. That's a whole nother walk of life. That's a whole nother way of looking at your walk. Because for me, it was like, yeah, I love God, but I don't really know if he's happy enough with me to get me out of this situation. I don't really know if I ain't done enough that he didn't like to let me fall, you know what I mean? And suffer the ills of what comes with that. And so this is what it's taught me, that, you know, that he was with me in the process of trying to see me succeed. And if I stuck with him, it wasn't going to be no excess difficulties that couldn't be handled properly. So that's really what it is, man. A lot of reflection ahead of my 40th birthday. And, you know, as I look around after doing all of that reflecting, I have a different perspective, I guess, or outlook on my own situation right now, trying to assess where I'm at and where I'm headed. It's a much easier path knowing that I can trust God and that he does have my best interest at heart, and that this is going the way that he wanted to go, and that being obedient to him should be what I want more so than whatever it is that I tell myself I want. And so that's really what it's about, man. That trust factor, that belief. There's just a lot of different distractions. There's a lot of people engaging in the opposite of that. There's a lot of things in the world that try to back you into circumstances that are immoral in nature, just from the sake of being in the Western world in 2024. You don't have to really be doing anything wrong. You follow what's laid out for you, and you're going to be doing some things wrong. You're going to be engaging in some immoral practices just off of the strength of following what's laid out for you in America. And that's what I've come to also behold as well. Putting money first over loved ones and people. That's something that the world is going to coerce you into. It takes a great deal of strength to overcome some of what comes so very naturally to us. Ignoring genocide and stuff like that. You know, adhering to manly gods, you know, like idols, celebrities, politicians, Zionist entities and stuff like that. Oh, they're gods. No, they're not. They are not. They're human beings. You need to fear God, not what they want you to do, not what they're talking about, not what they demand of you. You ignore them, and you go exactly toward what is best. And what is best is compassion in your heart, and listening to that inner voice that's telling you what you should and should not do, and following it and knowing that it's in your best interest. And if it happens to go against the flag, you feel me, the flag, then you know that that's probably what is going to lead to the better outcome for you and your vessel, and what it is that ultimately you're going to affect with your energy. So that's really what it's about, man. It's trusting that inner voice in me, showing me how to engage in proper humanity, ignoring things I should ignore. And I think about how my body has rejected certain things, and then I look at what the products are in those and realize a lot of them are garnered in immoral ways. Like, my body doesn't want to eat eggs anymore and chicken anymore. How are we treating them chickens? How are we handling those eggs? In some immoral ways. You know, some of the ingredients and things that my body has rejected, it's like, it's aligned with probably what God would otherwise want me to stay away from any damn way. How I haven't been working lately. And then I look at what working people's tax dollars is going to. That ain't no coincidence. The Lord moved me away from being backed into that immoral space where my tax dollars are funding genocide. I'm not paying taxes because I'm not working. So effectively, somehow I've been able to skedaddle away from that immoral practice that is ultimately coerced us into just being guilty of what it is that's ultimately happening out here. You're guilty just off the strength of you being a citizen, moving how citizens move in this country. And it's like, it takes a great deal of favor to be able to not only show you how to handle that, but to get around that, to effectively not be guilty of what everybody else is guilty of. I can tell you, I haven't paid into any tax circumstances in this country in over 3 years. So whatever death they've been coercing with tax dollars, they ain't using none of mine. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's a real thing. Only tax I've been paying is sales tax on when I buy things, and there ain't no other way to purchase things without it. But as far as them taking my tax dollars, ain't no taxes. I ain't earned. I haven't been earning for this country. And I'm thankful for that. However that played out, whatever consequences that's supposed to hold, I can tell you right now, if I go in my grave right now, I can look God in the eye and say, I was in it, but I was not of it. I was in America. I was not of it. While everybody was turning a blind eye to what the Zionists were doing because they were afraid of what the Zionists could do to them, I gave the Zionists the finger and I told the truth about what it is I saw them do. I didn't adhere to them because they were no God to me. What is in me is stronger than what is in them every day. That's what I've come to know. I put nobody above you as it pertains to your humanity. That's the problem that a lot of Christians are doing right now. They put the Zionists above them. Well, you know, they're from Israel. They're the chosen people. No. Israel was a land. Israel is land. That's a place. It's not a people. It's a place. And if the people who are living in that place aren't doing right, then they're wrong, just like they would be wrong in any other slab of land. You understand what I'm saying to you? Don't let these people lie to you about the importance of them versus the importance of you. That's a lie. You define who you are, not their capitalism. Your interest in being of value to the people around you and to your God is what provides you value. Being aligned with his timing, not their nonsense. They would have you to believe you're supposed to do what they want you to do, or else they're going to lock you into a corner, this, that, and the third. But what they cannot see is the strength that comes from being obedient regardless of what the consequences may be. Just like none of us can see that. They can threaten us with the worst of consequences, but if I know God is pleased with me and I know I can trust God, then it really doesn't matter what they do or what they think they control. They can't control nothing. The map has changed over thousands of years. I was looking at the world map. And if you look at the map in regards to land, you can see how the land once was together. You can see how South America and Africa were once one slab of land. And so many others the same way. You can see they fit in with one another. Can the men, the gods of the earth, the men of the earth, put that land back together? No. They got to travel overseas in order to get to where they're going, just like you do. They got to put their pants in one leg at a time, just like you do. So for me to say that God has chosen them and to believe that wholeheartedly, I have to ask myself, what would make me believe that other than them telling me that and believing them? God has chosen me to believe in him who becomes before all men. So whether men want to put themselves in a position to believe that because of their works they're above other men or not is irrelevant, because they can't put slabs of land together just like they can't pull them apart. They can't cure themselves of what ails their gut just like anybody else is not able to. They can't stop the walls from closing in on them from the people who stand against that nonsense. And there's nothing they can do about being mortal, because they're going to die and they're going to have to face what comes with that, just like you will, just like I will. So with this little time that I have, as I behold the last 10 years of my life and start to think about the last 10 years of my life, the things I'm most proud of were the times when I listened to God, regardless of what man told me the consequences were for doing so. Listening to that inner voice in me, guiding me in a direction or another. It's when I swayed from that the consequences come in a way that I did not like. It's when I swayed from that I delayed success as the Lord would otherwise deem it for myself. It's when I swayed from that when I otherwise find myself tempted and dabbling in things that would otherwise not right. It's not a religion that's going to align you with that, because there are many people praying to God from different religions. They all talking to the same God. They all fighting the same enemy. That's a distraction. Of course, your people ain't going to know the things that other people are not going to know what you were raised with if they're not raised around you. If I was raised in the Middle East, I may be Muslim. You understand what I'm saying? If I was raised where you at, I may be religious like you. It ain't about that. It's about an understanding that your best is what the Lord is going to appreciate. Your best. Not getting it right, because nobody actually has a full understanding. Just your effort and your trust that whatever it is will be good to you. And in you being good to it, it will help you be good to others. That's why I'm not upset at people who pray a different way, even though I was taught to look at them like they're different because they pray a different way. Ain't nobody got no answers. But I tell you, when I pray to Christ, good things happens for me. When I pray to Christ, I'm able to see the power in that. When I listen to the voice of God in my heart, I'm able to find myself aligned with the timing of things that are best suited for the life I'm in. That's what works for me. That's what he aligned me with. That's the portal from which he wanted me to reach him. That's the bridge from which he wanted me and my spirit to connect with him. Maybe yours is through Islam. Maybe yours is through Buddhism, whatever the case may be. But don't allow people who align with the politics of those structures, who don't actually have a connection or a relationship with God, tell you that you need to be stomping the way they stomp in order to connect with God when they're not even connected with God. Had they been connected with God, they would know better than to do that to you. They would tell you that it don't matter which way is right, just that you have a reaching out. He'll reach back. It don't matter if you got his name right. He'll introduce himself when he see you. Just make sure that you're doing the right by the people around you, and make sure you're leaving back a legacy that he can be proud of. And the best way to that is through compassion, fearlessness when it comes to doing the right thing versus what everybody else is doing, which you can see around you ain't right. The world is meant to coerce you into spaces that ain't no good for you. That's just what it's meant to do. It's meant to push you into a capitalistic priority where you got to have your money first and love second or somewhere else down the list. It's moving away from that nonsense and moving into a space where you listen to God and then move forward, that ultimately puts you in a position to, regardless of what your religion, will always be in a space from which God will reach back. He will reach back. All you got to do is reach forward. He will reach back. But a lot of people are too busy trying to align with people that they forget that this is about connecting with God. Or that they allow the evils that are going on around them to snuff out any sense of faith in a God. That's unfortunate, but that's what a lot of people do. They don't believe in God, not because they can't submit to something greater than them. It's just because they've seen so much evil done around them by men, and they're putting either faith or allowing that faith to slide with the works and the actions of men, instead of being the strength that would otherwise define the goodness that they want to see in the world. You got to be that. You can't wait for somebody else to be that. People ain't going to be able to be nothing other than what they know around them. You got to show them that. That's your job to show them that. If you have it in you, it's your job to follow those who have it in them if you don't. But to let somebody push you into a space where you align politically with something religious, and now you got to stomp this way to alienate those people, or you looking at those people's sins, say, nah, they can't come around here because of their sins. Who told you that that was the truth? If not for somebody aligned, stomping in a certain way, trying to align with other people and not God. God never told you to push nobody away. He never told you that because he judged some, that you should judge too. He never told you you were him. You were made in his image, but you ain't him. Why do you think it's your job to define others as worse because of the sins that they commit, when you haven't even mastered your own actions towards sin? That's not your job. It's the alignment of political religious structures that make it so that people want to push people out for their sin nature. That ain't God. God ain't never did that. God showed you of a Jesus Christ, of a Buddha, of an energy that would otherwise allow people in for their differences, regardless of their sin, because you are going to be the example of how they can learn how to move away from said sin. If they don't experience you, how can they ever know? So if you're pushing away everybody who doesn't have it right, how can you ever help those who don't have it right? You're missing your calling by aligning with people who really want to align with people instead of aligning with the living God who would tell you how to tolerate people who are different than you, who would tell you how to stand down and let him judge people. That ain't your job. You do what it is he told you to do. And if you're listening to that heart inside of you, he's probably aligning you with that direction. But if you're listening to the people around you and the structures of such religions, then 9 out of 10 times you're just going to find people who are trying to align with people. Not necessarily people who are trying to align with God. All people need to do to align with God is reach out. That's it. You ain't got to do all this extra stuff that people tell you have to do. Now, if you choose to do those things, it's not like he's going to shun you for it, especially if your heart is aligned with reaching out. Because structure is necessary for a sheepish mind. But that you stay a sheepish mind is not his intention. He wants to connect with you and the individual that you are. And let that guide you. Not those people who want to connect with people. They're just people. They're not God. And if you follow people, you're going to be following people down a path that is no good for you 8 out of 10 times. That's what I've learned. Packs go off of into tangents about their ego, about the strength that they have in their numbers attached to that ego, about their need for power to control the pack itself, to stand aligned so that they're not outcasted from the pack. There's a lot of things that come with chasing people. It don't help you. Like chasing the intention of compassion, which will align you with people anyway if you're doing it in a way that is pure. Sure, you're going to have some haters, but chasing people is going to have you having haters. Sometimes for the wrong reasons. Because you don't wear my color, because you don't stand with my religion, because you ain't on our side of the fence, because you don't have my skin color. That type of stuff. Alignment with a need to connect with people can often push you out of alignment with the God. I'm not saying stand alone on everything, but sometimes you got to know how to. Sometimes you got to trust that you have the strength to do so when it's absolutely necessary, when it's essential that you do so. And if you're not reaching out to God and you listening to man, or you watching all the evil that's being done and you don't believe in something greater than yourself, all of those things are going to push you further and further away from your actual connection to the living God that you serve. And maybe you don't feel you serve him. Maybe you weren't taught to believe you're supposed to serve him. That's okay. That's why you listen to my video now. But in serving God, you're not going to be a slave to nothing. Freedom comes from serving God. That's the beauty of a God. He don't need nothing from you. He wants to give something to you. So once you find yourself serving God, you start finding true freedom. Serving people is going to bind you. Serving God gives you freedom and alignment. He's going to push you away from circumstances that ultimately make you worse. That's why you have structures and rules to what it is he wants you to do, because a lot of stuff that you want ain't no good for you. To be of better wants. You know, my thought is this. Act like you've known you've wanted somebody that was no good for you before. Act like you've met somebody in your life that wasn't somebody you should have been with. Because that's the true north of the understanding that sometimes the things you want the most ain't no good for you. You can see that in our alignment with the people that we surround ourselves with and how they end up turning on us in certain situations, or end up betraying our, or whatever the case may be, or end up pushing us away for our differences as they're revealed to them. These type of things. You need to be connected with something greater than yourself who's going to show you how to be tolerant of everybody else, man. If it ain't going to do that, if it's going to push you into a corner, back you into a corner with a bunch of people that look just like you, act just like you, think just like you, move just like you, and chances are they're going to die just like you. You need to incorporate yourself with new people, with new things, with a new vision. so that you can see what it is that you don't know, and then furthermore teach that to others who don't know what you know. And as the world continues to spread apart and lands continue, the map continues to change, it'll be that from which you created, from these new lanes that you've been in, that ultimately give forth a new culture that allows others to let new people in. Can't just be a circle of their own, same old, me people, our people, we don't trust nobody else. We trust God. He'll align you with how to be trustworthy and how to surround yourself with people you can trust, so that you're not pushing the people around you away for the reasons that don't make any sense, that align with otherwise politics of people. Vetting people for the wrong reasons. I trust this guy because he's from where I'm from. I trust that guy because they from down the street. I don't trust them because they from over the land. They tag a different way than me. That type of stuff doesn't vet your friends. You don't know who's the real enemy and your friends when you vetting people that way. Can't win that way. That's bad math. I only want to align with people who vote like me. But y'all all been warped into propaganda that ain't even real. All you just need somebody to do is come up to you and show you where your mind has been warped, trying to align with people politically and things of that nature, to show you how your math doesn't add up with the things that you want. You just need to be revealed something new, but you ain't gonna ever find that something new if you don't step outside of the realms of what it is you believe. And step into a space that a God who has an all understanding of knowledge to share with you will provide. All you gotta do is reach out. He'll align you with your perfect strangers. He will align you with new surroundings and make you a better person so that you fit better in those surroundings, or are able to stand different in those spaces that otherwise you don't feel you fit in. Comfortable as an outcast when necessary, comfortable being in the presence of others when necessary, and the balance that comes with both. It ain't always time to align. It ain't always time to stand still and be by yourself, but that you have a balance about it comes from a living God. You can stand in your truth. You can tell the truth. You ain't got to align with everybody else's stuff for fear of what could happen if you don't. All that different stuff. It backs you into a corner that ultimately you don't want to be in, whether you know it or not. So that's what the living God has put in my heart to say to all of y'all, man. Find that balance. Reach out to a God that serves you, that you serve. Both, really. If you really consider it, he definitely wants to give you all the blessings and all the best things in your life possible. It's not like he's just asking you to come toward him, follow all these rules, and then suffer the ills of death. The world wants you to do that. God wants to give you blessings. He wants to provide you a compass to navigate around those obstacles. He don't want to see you fall into the pits that ultimately a lot of people fall into. They fall into them pits following people without the intention of reaching out to God, following their ego in the presence of people, instead of connecting with God to find out how he wants you to behave and feel in these circumstances that you may be faced with that are challenging in nature. So that's really what it is I have to say, man. Ain't nobody said life was going to be easy. Nobody said it came with a manual. Nobody said that this person has the answer, so you follow them and everything's going to be fine. It doesn't necessarily work like that. But as I told y'all, compassion is your true north. That's your way to God, man. Being acceptance of the differences in others and accepting in your flaws in yourself. You're good enough to stand in the presence of anybody, tell what it is you need to tell. That is the truth. The world is going to tell you otherwise. The world is going to tell you got to do this, 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 and this so that you can survive. But the reality is nobody knows when they're going to die any damn way. You can do all those things and still find yourself in a situation where you lose your life. What did you do with the life you had? How did you overcome what it is that came your way? Were you willing to, or did you crumble in the presence of others trying to make them proud of you instead of making God proud of you? Did you perceive God as some impossible thing to make happy, or did you understand that there was freedom in that belief? There's freedom in that. That God ain't gonna treat you like a lot of these people treat you when you don't have it right. He ain't gonna criticize or ridicule you for your differences, for he created those differences within you and the challenges from which to discipline yourself against what you should. That's the secret of a living God. You ain't gotta prove nothing to him. You ain't gotta explain nothing to him. He's intent on explaining you to you. If you're listening. BDL44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.